Okay, so
Oh,
exactly, I was just about to say this. If you guys miss this, or if you have to go, or you're joining late, we always post it on YouTube, and then we'll always drop that link in Telegram and Discord. So you can always refer back to these if you miss them, or catch them tomorrow or whatever. So we're gonna start off on DXY as we normally do, and I'm gonna take you guys through top-down analysis as we do pretty much every week. I'm not gonna go too in depth. I like to just keep it on the daily and then go over the 4-hour situations to show you guys what's possible for the week ahead, because we want to focus on price action that is most relevant to now, right? Because we're trading this week, we're not trading last week, we're not trading a month ago. We have to focus on the week ahead. So, you really want to stay with recent price action. I find for these webinars, at least daily 4-hour plays in pretty well. All right, so the only thing that we're grabbing from the daily time frame, and we're going to do this on pretty much every pair, is the trend. Okay, so we just want to grab the trend, see what the overall trend is, because it tells us what type of market we've been in. Obviously here we're very bearish. We've been pushing lower, so we're probably going to continue with that trend, or at least that's where we're going to try to stick with that bearish trend, and that's where we'll hopefully find the highest probability trades, opposed to trying to counter trend trade this. Okay, so very bearish as we can see. It's all we need from this time frame. We are below our key level here, which is kind of acting as the pivot point for this trend. As we're below it, we're bearish. As we're above, we're generally bullish. So that level is 91.5, our monthly zone. So now let's go to the 4-hour. Okay, so here's that break below the monthly, right? 91.5 right here, breaks below, lower high, lower low, comes back up and tests that lower high, pushes to a lower low again. So it's a bit of an expanding pattern. There's good momentum here. Definitely bearish. It breaks key support. We had a little bit of a fake out over here. It confirms it with a lower high, pushes lower again. So now at this point, we're kind of going sideways, clear consolidation. We're making some attempts to push higher. This is more or less a pullback. Didn't confirm anything, so it wasn't a true break. So it's kind of a ripsaw, shot up, came back down, continued to consolidate in the upper half of this range. And now we're breaking to the upside again. So this could be exactly what happened over here, or we're looking for a higher low. If we see a higher low, this is obviously the first step in, transitioning to a bullish trend, especially on the 4-hour here. That would confirm that level is broken and then tested as support. And then we would be pretty much bullish on the dollar up to our target at 90.8. Okay, so this is very likely for this week. This is definitely the scenario that is closest to happening, opposed to a bearish scenario, which we would need to see price action pull all the way back through 90.25, break below, and then we're pretty much back into this range. So expect it to drop to 90 flat, potentially 89.7, and then we'll reanalyze if that happens, because we're back into a range. So we're kind of neutral on DXY at that point. It hasn't really committed to a trend. So if that happens, we'll reanalyze and come up with new scenarios. But for now, looking pretty bullish. Good amount of volume. Let's see if it sticks going into this week. All right, so that's DXY. Let's jump over to our first pair, AUD USD. Daily time frame to start, as we talked about. We're grabbing the trend, right? Very bullish, but we can see up here that we've been moving sideways. So this is an extreme amount of consolidation. However, it is still generally bullish for the daily time frame. Okay, so the key level here on the daily is this weekly, which is 0.76. Clearly, this has acted as huge support for a while. And generally, as price action is above it, we're more bullish. If we start making breaks below it and confirming it with lower highs, then we're effectively transitioning into a bearish trend on the daily, which is big. So you can catch some huge moves from there if that happens. But again, as long as we're above the weekly, we're bullish. So that's where we're at now. Let's go to the 4-hour. Look at these potential trade scenarios. All right, so huge amount of consolidation, as we saw on the daily. Here it is on the 4-hour. We're making some attempts to push lower, as we saw with a very bullish dollar. We had the exact fake out to the upside. We got the inverse on AU because they're inversely correlated. So this makes a lot of sense. Pushed lower, faked out, came back, continued with consolidation. Now we're making a push lower again. We saw on AU that it was pretty much the same height. This one is about half. So not as much momentum to the downside. Could be a little bit of divergence, so we could see it come back into the range. So that's one possibility for the week. But since we are so far down here, the closest scenario to happening would be a lower high formation, and then bearish setups. So then we would be targeting lower down towards our weekly again. But as we saw here and back here even, this could very easily push back up. And if it does get back above 0.7715, which pretty much brings it back into the range, this short opportunity becomes invalid, at least for where price action is right now. Long term, we obviously want to see a lower high below the range if we're looking to short. We're looking for a higher low above the range if we're looking to buy. Okay, so this is that bullish scenario, which essentially is just price action coming back into the range and further consolidating. Okay, because ideally, you could take a buy off here. I wouldn't really recommend it. Again, huge resistance here. That would be your absolute target for a lower time frame trade. But long term, more swing trade stuff, you really want to see a higher low above 0.78. So this exact formation just above this zone. All right, so this is what AU is looking like right now. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, if the dollar does take off, it gives us that higher low that we were looking at. This will probably form that lower high and start to push lower. Now, how dramatic it will be in correlation or, with DXY, we don't know. That's why you want to wait for the confirmations. Never just take a trade the opposite or with, another pair just because you see something happening. Always wait for the confirmations on the pair you're trying to take the trade on. So lower high, bearish variations, that would be enough at this point. But yeah, that's AU. Looking pretty interesting. Could finally see that consolidation break. So let's go to AEJ now. Daily time frame. Same thing, just grabbing the trend from the daily here. Very bullish. But it does look like, if you just look at the volume of this trend here, like this is super strong, right? Clearly pushing higher, a lot of bullish momentum. These pullbacks are, pretty good. Nothing too major though, just a very strong high volume trend. And then look what's happening here. We're still pretty much bullish, but it's starting to flatline a little bit, starting to shift momentum to sellers. You can just see there's larger bearish candles, smaller bullish candles. So essentially this is a consolidating pattern. So we could be seeing, an aggressive move happen this week. A lot of indecision the last couple of weeks here, or the last week here. So we could see an explosive move coming this week, but overall bullish on the daily. So let's see what the 4-hour has for us. Okay, huge amount of consolidation on the 4-hour, all the way back to the beginning of May to now. A couple of fake outs both sides, but all in all, pretty much consolidating. So there's no real way to play this unless you're just trading the range. You have to wait for a break higher or a break lower. So that's pretty much the two ways you could really trade a range. Either wait for the break or just kind of trade the inside of the range. Okay, so for right now, this does look like it's pushing lower. There's a lot of bearish momentum now, so it definitely could break lower. If it does break 84.4, we need a lower high to confirm that as a transition. Then we can enter on that and start targeting down towards key support levels. Okay, pretty much we'll be targeting down towards the weekly 83.25 as the max target before we have to reanalyze. But some other TP levels are in here around 83.8. So yeah, some good movement if it does break lower. But because we're overall bullish on the daily and we didn't really push out of this zone yet, the more likely scenario is that it's going to continue to range. So it'll reverse here at support, probably make an attempt back towards 85.1 area. That's just kind of what we're seeing right now. It hasn't broken anything yet. It's still respecting support and resistance of the range. So, can't really do much. This is the closest trade scenario to happening, right? This is just going to reverse and start pushing higher. So we'll see. We'll see with AJ. Little neutral on this one for now. But let's jump over to our next pair, UJ, which is looking pretty good. Pretty decent. Let's jump to the daily. Overall, pretty bullish. We see key resistance up here at 111.5. Weekly support down here at 107. So it's kind of somewhere in the middle between these two zones, but definitely trending upwards. So overall bullish. Let's go to the 4-hour. We actually do have a pretty nice bullish trend here, our bullish channel here. Pretty good volume, nice swings. So ideally, we were going to continue with this. Last week, our analysis was that price action was going to fall down and reverse around this 200 EMA and our support at 109.15. It did that exactly. Didn't have the momentum for the volume I would have expected off this reversal, but it's still very much bullish. We're still pushing higher. It just needed to kind of just build up some steam before it got going here. So all in all, pretty good analysis from last week, but now it's kind of missed your opportunity. You kind of missed your opportunity for an entry if you're not in, but it is approaching key resistance. So there's not much we could do at this point. We're more so going to address how it's going to react at 110, 110 level, this huge resistance level up here, right? So this would be the best indication, best area to find a trade, because we're ideally looking for it to reverse at this point, in which case we'll look for a higher low to then re-enter on, or we're waiting for a break of that zone entirely with some sort of higher low above, which would give us extreme confidence that this is going to continue higher. And then we could look for a bullish setup to then enter on. And then we're going to target new highs. But yeah, pretty much in a pretty strong bullish trend. Just more bullish movement is probably the most likely scenario here. So, again, we're just going to reanalyze once we get to 110, or well, we're just going to start following a little more closely once we get to 110, and then look for either of these two scenarios to kind of play out. All right, so that's it. That's UJ. Let's go ahead, jump over to EJ. Daily time frame to start. EJ could finally dump this week. I mean, it's been so bullish, super, super bullish, guys. This is the daily trend, daily time frame. So yeah, just super, super bullish. Key zone up here, our weekly, right at 132.75, right there. So that's our key level. So pretty much, if price action is above this, forming higher lows above this, it's generally bullish. If we start breaking below and start seeing some 4-hour lower highs, we're going to start looking for shorts, because this is a very strong trend, a little bit extended, so it could fall back quite a bit if we do get a pretty good size retracement. All right, so let's go to the 4-hour now. Let's see what we got here. So very bullish right up until this point. Then we started flatlining up here on this 4-hour, heavy consolidation. Then we broke support, started getting some lower lows, lower highs, and now we are in pretty much a pretty clean 4-hour bearish trend. But again, this weekly's right here. So this one's going to need to show us quite a bit for us to say, for it to kind of break through this zone, for us to say, okay, maybe it is bearish now. It needs to show us a good amount. So ideally, I'd like a little more of a push. I want to get below this 200. I want to get below the weekly, and then obviously lower highs to confirm that break, right? Right below 132.75. And then we would enter on bearish setups, targeting down towards 132 flat. So a good 75 pip spread. But keep in mind here too, this could, before it breaks here, it could continue to bounce in this area like this. Where is that brush tool? So it could definitely pull back to this area and still be bearish, right? It could do something like this, and then it could finally break. So this is a scenario too. I'm not saying it's going to push right now, but ideally, we don't want to consider entries until we're seeing a lower high like this. It could definitely pull back in range a little bit. EJ likes to build up momentum before it really makes a move and starts taking off. So we could see a bit of a fight here in price action, and then the dump finally with a lower high that we would be then interested on shorting. Okay, but yeah, if it does this, informs, if it pulls back to this resistance area here, right at 133.3, and gives us a lower high, that's still bearish. It's still in this 4-hour trend. So that's definitely possible. That's allowed, right, for us to still consider shorts. So we'll wait for something like that. Or if it goes bullish again, very, very clear what has to happen. Break through resistance levels, break this lower high on the 4-hour, and then confirm a bullish trend with a higher low just above this level here, 133.65. But more importantly, higher low above this lower high. That's a real transition. And that would be a great long opportunity. All right, so that's EJ. Let's move on to gold, which is the final pair that I have for you guys. Daily time frame first. So this one's interesting because we were very bearish for a while. Very, very bearish for a while, breaking through the 1800 level, which was very key support. That was kind of the pivot level for price action here on the daily. If it was above it, we were generally bullish. If we're below it, we're generally bearish. And we broke it there. We shot all the way down to 1675, double bottomed, and then went bullish from there. So pretty much once this happened, this was a nice little transition here. Definite bullish trend on the 4-hour there. But then this was the major transition here, the break back above 1800. So that was huge, huge momentum, got the higher low, and then it was full on bullishness from there. So the daily is definitely bullish. The key level for our price action is 1875. It's holding that level as support and is now testing it on the 4-hour. So let's get a closer look and see what's going on here. Okay, very bullish. Very, very bullish as we can see up to this point. We are kind of not necessarily ranging, but we are in an area where price action is kind of slowing down. The momentum here obviously has kind of gone sideways. Um, but yeah, it's ranging more here, but this whole piece of price action is just kind of flatline price action. It doesn't really know where it's going, right? We don't have clear trend. We don't have clear direction. It's kind of just fighting, trying to make an attempt higher. We have three tops there, pulls back pretty dramatically, bounces off 1875, and then just starts showing us a whole bunch of chop. So it's pretty much sideways movement. So from here, the key level for the 4 hours, pretty much is 1893 area, pretty much where price action has confirmed resistance right here, and where price action over here confirms support. So it's an area of interest for the 4 hour. So ideally, if we see a break of that with a higher low above, something confirmed with good bullish momentum, like this here actually. Like, where'd it go? I want to see a break above. Yeah, kind of like this. So I want to see pretty much a break above, higher low formation there, and then good volume. So some nice bullish setups in here that you would then be entering on, and that'd be a pretty good trade. We target 1930, which is also our negative 27 fib level. So good confluence there. Makes it a pretty reasonable target, good amount of pips to be made on that trade. So this is probably the most likely scenario. Again, the biggest factor here is the daily time frame that's kind of holding this, and the fact that we're still above 1875. Until we see a break below that, I'm just going to wait for some bullish opportunities. Okay, but let's say that doesn't happen. It doesn't break to the upside. We get gold starting to push lower. Let's say the dollar goes nuts. We have an inverse correlation. We see a little drop on gold into this area. Wait for the pullback. Wait for a confirmed lower high, and then short on more bearish setups. And then this could be a pretty damn big target, because we're going to be going down to the weekly here, which is pretty much at 1825 area is where we'll be targeting. A nice psychological level. It's also in line with a pretty good fib level for a pullback, and then we'll reanalyze if that happens. But yeah, so that's gold. Two scenarios. We'll see what happens this week. Just got to wait for a lot of this consolidation to break, and then we'll be able to see things a little more clearly. All right, so that's what I got for you guys. Quick recap: I covered DXY, AU, AJ, UJ, EJ, and gold. You can find this in the Discord. We posted in the Discord in the analysis section, and then also in Telegram.
Yes, sir. So
All
I
right,
was just
guys.
going to say, guys, Nick's given all those levels, like this 1875, 1893. So how you can use the analysis, because it's not exactly ready for entry now, is see how it reacts to those levels. If it's going to reject 1875, then you probably should take a long maybe into 1893. You know what I mean? If it breaks 1875, then you're looking for that swing trade that Nick has mapped out here. So I'm going to go over my analysis a little bit on like what to do, but basically for the swing trading ideas, you're waiting for the two trade paths that Nick has marked, but then for more intraday trades, you're going down to the lower time frame, 30-minute, 1 hour, and like for example, if it breaks below 1875, clearly it's in a downtrend on the 30-minute and the 1 hour. You could bump down time frames and take more high risk trades like intraday on the 1 hour and the 30-minute as you're waiting for that 4 hour move to obviously happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, so I'm gonna let you share now. Go over some more pairs.
Yeah, I got you. I'm gonna share up. We're gonna cover basically all the major pairs now. So Nick went over some minor pairs: DXY, AU, UJ. I'm gonna cover the rest of the major pairs here. So we're gonna get started with USEF. So this is a trade that I'm actually gonna get into literally right now. I'm gonna go over in a second what to do with it, but I'm just gonna enter it on my own because it's more than ready. So it's a little short idea. Like I said, I'll go over in a second why I'm getting in on it. I'm gonna swing trade it for the whole week and just see how it plays out. Got my stops, 40 pips. Gonna risk 1% on it. So it's gonna be about 2.5 here. And with the swing trading strategy, guys, it's just pretty much set it and forget it. Set it and forget it. Come back at the end of the week, see how things played out, and there's not much else to it. I mean, you could try to hug it and cut, stop, short, whatever, depending how things play out early in the week. But if you truly want to swing trade it, it's just set it and forget it mentality. So let's take a look now. Let's bump up time frames here. So we've got Youssef. We had a little breakdown. This one is definitely a little bit more high risk because on the weekly time frame, the way that I'm looking at it is we're in a downward push. We've come down quite a bit over the last several months, or I guess 2 months since April. Now we're at the bottom here. We can see all of these reversal type candles. We have this spinning top, doji, spinning top, spinning top. The last 6 weeks in a row is showing us that the market is finding support right now. It's finding support at this level. As I come down to the daily time frame, even though the weekly is telling me that, structure here is still very much bearish. What I mean by that is we form this lower low, push to this new lower low. We have this lower high. We have this new lower high that forms, new lower low, which pushed down. Then we came back up, retested this previous support or resistance level. Now we're pushing down again, retesting the low. So this thing is still bearish. These are my main levels on this. I don't have them on the chart, but this is what I'm like talking about. This is one level. This is one level. Obviously, this already pushed below here, so it's not relevant. So if price breaks above here, then we're really reversing. We're really going bullish. The whole entire momentum of this area is certainly shifting. But anything below here, we're still pretty bearish. And then as I come down to the 4-hour, this is what kind of solidified my idea. Last week we had a long idea on this actually because the 4-hour time frame looked like this. We had the trend was certainly just very bearish right here. I'm just going to use this trend line pretty loosely, put it like this. And just put it like this. So that it had broken out last week, and we were actually looking for a buy right here. So we were looking to buy this, up into the fib extension levels, and then it just tanked, for the week. Came down, hit stops. UCAD was the same trade, played out perfectly. USEF, for whatever reason, the Swiss franc was a little bit stronger than the dollar last week, so it tanked down. And then we actually came over here and we broke support. So I have this all mapped out here. I have my structure levels. You can see it was in a downtrend from this lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. And then right here, what happened? Higher low was formed, pushed up to a new high, broke the previous high. That's why I'd had that long idea last week. Didn't play out, pushed down. Now we just broke support. Now we're coming up for the retest. And I've highlighted this area. This is definitely an area where price has moved off of aggressively multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 4, shot to the upside, shot to the downside off of this level. So I'm looking for price to reject this area. I've got my fibs on here. This is also the 38.2 area. And then we did have a rejection already, this bearish candle. It's not exactly the best confirmation candle right now. It didn't engulf or anything like that, but still we had the wick. We hit the liquidity area, rejected it. So I'm shorting it right now. We got our stops above the highs right here, above 61.8. So they're about 40 pips, and the target is down here at negative 27. But then we could even target lower. You could potentially swing this all the way into this level, but I'm targeting this because if I bump up to the weekly time frame, this is clearly like a weekly support level. So if price does come down here, it's probably going to wick out of here quickly and just flip. So this is a little short idea on USEF. Going to manage this one throughout the week. This is a true, trying to swing trade this. We're getting it at a level that could be that lower high. So that's USEF. Let's bump over to EU. We're just kind of continuing with the analysis from last week. If you guys were on last week's call or reviewed last week's analysis. So last week we took a short on EU, ended up playing out late in the week. And this trade is still open. We're just maintaining it On the weekly time frame, why did we take a short? We can see we double topped here. Going into last week, we had all these reversal candles. We had this spinning top, large wicks to the upside, coming up, testing that previous resistance level, rejecting it. So pretty simple idea. And then coming down to the 4-hour, structure just flip-flopped. It was in an uptrend, forming this higher low, this higher high, this higher low, or this higher high, this higher low, respecting this level, and then this level broke, and then we just took the short. We shorted it here, went into some drawdown, then it tanked. So what are we going to do now? This is what I was talking about with Nick's analysis, is like the 4-hour is bearish, right? So we're trying to swing this into a 4-hour, swing trade where it ends up going down all the way to our targets, the previous low right here. But in the meantime, when would I try to re-enter? I would just bump down to the 1-hour and just simply get in on 1-hour higher or lower highs. So wait for the pullback. It's got to pull back. Look for a resistance level. Just looking at this very, briefly, I can kind of see right here is a resistance level. So what I'm going to do with this one, we have a resistance level right here. So what I'm going to do with this one, guys, for a re-entry on this is I'm going to re-enter this one when price comes up here. And I'm going to put my stops. Let's just see what our target is. See how much room we have. So we got there. I'll put my stops all the way up here, 2 to 1. Play it safe. We could squeeze stops a little bit more, but play it safe, 2 to 1. So if price comes up, hits our liquidity zone, this is based on support, resistance. So if price hits here, it could react pretty aggressively. I'm going to have this mapped out. So this is a trade idea for this week. Limit order on EU at 121,300. That's where I'll look for price to come to. And then if you're in the swing trade from last week, you're just holding. You're just holding it. There's no reason to exit it right now. You're up 60 pips. Our stops originally were all the way at 80, so not even at 1 to 1 yet. So just keep holding it. That one was a 2 to 1 too. So we'll see if we can get this down. You could put stops at break even at this point, but you don't want to squeeze the trade. Originally we had stops up here. Maybe you lower them a little bit more so they're just above this high, because if that breaks, obviously you don't want to be in the trade. But yeah, that's the little swing idea on EU and how to take advantage of it, kind of like during an intraday session right now. Let's go over next. And that's a bit different because EU, if I'm looking at short USEF, I'm looking for Swiss franc to be stronger than the dollar, and then now I'm looking for the dollar to be stronger than the euro. So these don't always exactly correlate that closely, just because they're all USD based pairs. Hold on 1 second. Just turn the light on. Got dark real quick out here. All right, so now we've got NZD USD. This one last week again, another good trade idea. We shorted this one, ended up dropping, and it was very similar to EU, guys. We had just keep it simple. Just hit the weekly time frame. What do you see? Weekly time frame was hitting these highs, which have been respected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times over and over and over again. So I was expecting it to get respected again. Price came up here, was hitting this level, obviously struggling to break the highs. So this is the weakening area right here. And then coming down to the 4 hours where I could see things a little bit more clearly. And last week I was zoned in on this area because I had the monthly resistance up here. And then we had this. We had this break of support. So if any of you recall, we shorted it right here after the engulfing. Literally, the call was last week. Right here was where we were looking at it. I put the limit order up here. This was the area to short from. And then price came up here. I think it went to a little bit of drawdown because we actually shorted it right here. So it went up about 20 pips, and then it went to our targets. So that was a trade from last week. And we're looking for, at this point now, let's just look and see, where we're at coming up to the daily. We can clearly see there's a lot of liquidity in this area. So prices rejected this a lot of different times. So I'm either looking for two ideas right now. I'm either looking for price to shoot up back to this area where it would then be another lower high. And just look at the 4 hour now. So 4 hour, this is our new trend on the 4 hour. This is bearish. So I'm looking for that next lower high, either on the 4 hour time frame, or if this thing just starts to tank right now, I'm gonna wait for it to break, retest this area, and then I'm gonna go short on this. So I'm just gonna bring this into focus a little bit more. So this would be the idea here, guys. Break below that support that's held 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Once that breaks, wait for the pullback. Have stops be pretty small because we know this is a serious level. So have like 20 pip stops. The targets are going to be this next low all the way down here. They could be more modestly this area, both these targets. This could be kind of like TP2 right here on both these trades. And still we're getting 2.5 risk reward on that one. And this one we're getting 3-1. So these are two good trade ideas for the week. We'll just need price to make its move. There's nothing to do now because if I short it right now, it could shoot up. And, if I long it right now, it could shoot down. So it's like not an area where we want to make that type of decision. So we'll just wait. We'll just stay patient on that one. I'll move that one down my watch list. Obviously, EU is a little bit closer, and then USEF we're already going to get in right now. So let's go to GU next, which is like pretty much in the same type of spot. Let's hit up the weekly time frame. So look at the weekly. It doesn't take 10 years of experience to look at this. It's respected this level. It's rejected this level. So we found support, found resistance. Now we're back up here, and just look how price is forming. We've got wicks, spinning tops on either side right now, forming. And ultimately, what I'm thinking is, okay, price is hitting the high. Look at this wick. Respected that wick. Last week, though, closed with this doji. Or not with this doji, just with this spinning top candle, but there is a wick on it. So it's like, to me, that had me like a little unsure. Like, okay, there's some seller's exhaustion there. And then as I come to the daily, this is like a big consolidation zone we're in right now. Price has just been bouncing between these two prices. Let's see what the range is. About an 80 pip range. Price has just been playing within this range for about 2 weeks. Let's see actually how long it was. Even more, the last like 30 days, pretty much. Price is not broken out of this area. So GU is not trending at all right now. Coming to the 4 hour, you can see price is not trended at all. So it is pretty likely that price is going to shoot back up. And last week we had those short ideas up here because of that monthly resistance I have. So if price, there's a couple like opportunities on this one. If price comes up here, back to these highs, we can totally look to short this thing again, like this, just like we did last week. This was the short idea. We had stops pretty much right here. What is that, a 4-1? So we could have stops even a little bit wider, but we don't even need them to be too wide. That would be the short idea if price comes up there. If price manages to finally break out of this consolidation to the downside, this is going to be the trade, guys. This is going to be the trade. Break, retest, and then short this. I'll just move this over. And then scenario number 3, not as likely in my opinion, is price breaks all the way above the resistance, comes back and finds support, and then shoots to the upside. Again, this one's not, the highest probability in my opinion right now, just because of where price currently is. In my opinion, this one could become the trade, comes up here, and then just kind of shoots down, respects these highs again, grabs liquidity, grabs orders at that level. So I'm going to label this one to be kind of my trade path number 1. I'm just going to put this like this. So we got multiple fucking ideas right now. Multiple ideas. We're just going to be patient on it. We'll see what happens, guys. Don't enter right now on GU. Wait till it comes to that level. Once it comes up here, if it shows any sort of rejection, we're going to enter. And reason being, look how price came up here. A little bit of rejection here, nothing crazy, but price hit the level, shot down. Hit the level, shot down. So once price gets up in that area, we're definitely going to look for some sells. Let's go to UCAD next. This is another trade. So we went over USEF earlier. UCAD was the same idea as last week as USEF. It just played out. So weekly time frame. Look at the wicks here. Boom. And I could get completely annihilated on USEF, honestly, just because look at USEF right now. All these dojis at the bottom, all these wicks were slowing up. And then look at UCAD last week. Same thing. All these dojis, all these wicks, and then it popped. So that same thing could happen to USEF, but I'm just sticking to my rules, and I'm going to take that short until it proves me otherwise. This one down to the daily time frame, we recognize this falling wedge last week, so that's a reversal pattern. And then pretty much coming all the way down here, we had this all mapped out. We had our lows, lower high, lower low, lower high, kept going. Then we broke this. So this was like that minor little lower high that formed, and then it broke. So it broke to the upside. We had the retest. We entered on the call last week right here. Price shot up a bit, came down a bit, and then later in the week, finally shot up towards our target. So what are we trying to do now? Obviously, we're already in the trade, from last week. So we got to manage this the best way that we can. So what we'll do is I'll look for re-entries on some sort of retest. So we have this previous high point right here. So I'm going to look for a retest of this level. Once it retests this level, then I'll look for other potential shorts. And we could even, our fibs are on here. I could take it off. We know that's our final target. Once this finds resistance, we can totally just start refibbing it and looking for that next level. So look at this. Say this reversed right now. This would be a perfect area to enter, 38.2. That would be that next higher low if it were to push after that. So just keep that in mind. But for now, we're just kind of holding it. No re-entries on the lower time frames. It's just it's high up there right now. So no entries on that one. And then let's do last GJ. So GJ, let's hit the weekly time frame. We've got two scenarios on this one. And again, same thing as GU. GJ and GU correlate really closely. So we have this support, 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 resistance, resistance. So this thing's hitting the resistance right now, guys. And it's likely that it's going to reverse from this level. But on the daily, this is still bullish. So daily is very bullish, obviously, from this new high. Now we're pulling back. And then coming out of the 4-hour, I've got a few things going on here. Price is in a downtrend. We're forming these lower lows, lower highs over and over again. Boom, we just formed another one right here. So I'm looking for this thing to shoot to the downside. I'm looking for it to respect this trend line that it's currently at and to shoot to the downside. So as you can see, price is shooting up now. Like before, when I made this analysis, price was not doing this. It was down here. So as price comes up into this area, this is where I'm trying to short this right here. So once it rejects this at all, I'm going to put a short on this one. I could even short it now. It'd be down here, but it's a lot of bullish pressure right now. So I don't want to short it now and then all of a sudden it shoots up past the level and goes crazy, whatever. So I'm going to wait for it to reject a little bit. Look over here. Just look at this as a reference. Every single time there's at least some wicks or something. Like here we had some small body candles. We had these wicks forming, these reversal type candles here, the spinning top candle, then it dumped. I could have entered on this shit. Now, we just have a bullish candle coming back into the resistance. So we'll wait, but this is kind of the second one on my watch list, the more immediate one. If it manages to break this level, break the trend line, we're immediately just going to look for longs in line with the daily trend, little break, retest, and entry long. So that's my second kind of closest idea for this week. So that's all the trades for the week, guys, that I'm going to go over, all the analysis. Like Nick said, it's shared in the Telegram and the Discord chat this week. As you guys know, we've been posting on Instagram. The rapid signals are 20% off. So if you guys don't know what the rapid signals are, I'm just going to bring it up really quickly right here. So it's something new that we've been working on. We dropped last week. Here we go. You see my screen. So this channel is dedicated only to doing entry, stop loss, take profits. There's tons of results in here, guys, tons of trades. There's literally like 10 to 15 trades per day. We've got a bunch of people contributing in the group. And yeah, so it doesn't matter what time zone you're in, doesn't matter, what pairs you like to trade. If you want to just use it all for ideas, doesn't matter if you want to trade indices, golds, Forex, crypto, all the signals are in here, all different types, and it's 20% off until the end of today. So if you want to get in, it's 20% off for now. It's normally $50, so it's $40. And if you guys want to sign up, you can just come into the main channel here, this one, and scroll up. I'll post, because we got a bunch of messages here, I'll post about it, the link to actually join in here. But that's live. And then we also got the funded trader. So there are some people that have recently passed this. It's getting super interesting. Someone who recently passed is now working with Forex League. So now he's working with me on some other stuff, because that's the whole point of all this stuff, guys, is to find traders who can actually trade well, and then to give them more opportunities, not only with the funding, but with other stuff that Forex League has going on, other people in the network have going on. So if you could trade today, this weekend only, it's ending at midnight. If you sign up and pass, you will get 2 times your sign up fee as the refund. So if you sign up with $7.99, or you sign up to 200K for $800, in the event that you pass both phases, you'll get a refund of $15.98. So you'll get a refund 2 times what the sign up fee is. That's for this weekend only. We're going to continue to have promotions. We're going to do giveaways. We're going to do a bunch of other stuff with this program. We're doing a giveaway this month, Samsung monitor, 27-inch. Everyone that purchases a challenge qualifies for the giveaway. And yeah, it's gonna get super interesting, guys, especially once the first person starts getting those withdrawals and everything. Yeah, Darren's up 2.5%. Darren, if you don't mind me asking, what account size did you end up going with? And Nick, when did you purchase, and what are you asking if you qualified for, the giveaway or 50K? Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, the giveaway. Yeah, I mean, if you purchase this month, you qualify for the giveaway. So everyone that's purchased will get tickets. One person will win the monitor. It'll get shipped out. And if you want to get in on this, make sure you're inside of the Telegram. If you're not already, make sure to join up with the link. You can actually, the link has been posted in there, but you can actually just find the link inside of the regular Telegram group 6 days ago. Yeah, and no, you qualify 100%. So yeah, other than that, that's all the updates. Since there was not too many trades at entry on this free session like there was last week, I'm gonna update inside of the signal room, the trades for the week once they play out. So everyone that's in there will get these swing trades, and then the intraday trades, I'll be taken in the signal room too on the live calls later in the week. And then yeah, this is recorded. So if you want to go back, review golds, I'll post this on YouTube in a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Refer back to this, the analysis, again, as Angelo and I both said. Just want to make sure you guys know, Telegram, Discord, and then YouTube video will be posted after this. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. And we'll see you in the markets this week.
Yeah, week starts now. Best of luck. And as always, thank you guys so much for all the support. Let's get it. Peace out.